Recreational youth sport programs are typically open to all and welcome everyone regardless of one's ability or prior experience. The all play philosophy of these recreation programs can often create significant challenges for volunteer coaches. In addition to being responsible for coaching young athletes of widely different skills, knowledge, and experiences, these volunteers often have the task of coaching individuals with specific disabilities. Athletes with disabilities must be included if reasonable accommodations to rules, policies, practice sessions, and competitions can be made. Autism describes, as we know, a spectrum of traits which affect the athlete's ability to communicate, relate to others, understand language, and play effectively with others. Autistic children vary widely in their abilities, intelligence, and behaviors. They may have difficulty understanding verbal and non-verbal language, as well as figurative language. For example, phrases such as "the coach had a cow" may well be taken literally and thus be confused by the child with autism. Their difficulties with language may result in their struggling to tell others what they want or how they are feeling. As a result, they may get upset or appear frustrated. They may engage in a stimming behavior, such as hand flapping, or develop a physical tic, such as an eye twitch that becomes prominent. Children with autism may display unusual speech patterns. For example, they may perseverate on a word that was spoken or may repeat a word they heard earlier in the day. A child with ASD, autism spectrum disorder, may repeat a question in answer to a question. For example, the child might say, "Do you want to throw the ball?" when asked to throw a ball. They often have trouble adjusting to changes in their routines, changing surroundings, and change in general. Repetitive body movements and behavior patterns are quite common in children with ASD. The physical tics, as well as their impaired social skills, create difficulties in playing well with others. For example, they often avoid eye contact with coaches and peers. They often display abnormal responses to sensory stimuli. Some children are hyposensitive, while others are hypersensitive. A hypersensitive child can respond negatively, sometimes aggressively, to being touched. A hyposensitive child, on the other hand, often struggles to make sense of the physical stimulation from the environment, may have poor body awareness, and appears clumsy. They may show a limited range of interests and or a preoccupation with a narrow range of interests: dinosaurs, trains, bugs, and so on. So, an athlete with autism often has poor communication skills and may speak very little or not at all. They may display impaired social cognition and have difficulty understanding emotions, body language, voice inflections, and humor of others. Individuals with autism like having a routine and have great difficulty when their routines are altered. Because of their difficulties with change, regularly warn them of upcoming changes by providing transition prompts whenever possible. A prompt might announce upcoming changes in an activity. For example, we are going to stop stretching and begin batting practice next. Only quantify when it's accurate and precise. Exempli grazia, we are leaving in 2 minutes. A child with ASD will watch the clock and expect to leave in precisely 2 minutes. Use a transition prompt to remind them of the impending change, again at 30 seconds prior to the change. So, engaging the child with ASD in what you are doing is fundamental. Talk to them and include them. Don't misread their lack of eye contact or body movements as something which is something which you are not interested in. Try to involve them when they are calm. If they are agitated, they will not able to focus on what they are saying or teaching. Keep your sentences, instructions short, slow, and precise. Sarcasm, humor, metaphors, and abstract statements will generally not be understood. Enunciate clearly and speak slowly without speaking loudly. Often, if the child is engaging in some type of movement, their vestibular system helps them to engage in better listening for learning. For instance, if the child is standing on an unstable surface, for example, a squishy mat or floor trampoline, while they are given directions, they may have better processing and retention of those directions. Some other examples of movement during teaching would be to have the students, the athletes, sit on a therapy ball or a swing or a rocking balance board. Even a small 8-10-inch ball could be used as a seat when giving directions to a child with ASD. Attempt to identify any routines that are important to the child and about any obsessions they might display, such as always wanting to wear a hat or needing to keep a favorite toy nearby. Provide as much structure as possible and be predictable. That is, whenever possible, provide a schedule of events or rotations throughout the practice. Where appropriate and possible, use timers. Make certain that the tasks and drills are specific, clear, consistent, and easily accomplished. Present tasks or skills one at a time to make it easier for the athlete with autism to process what is expected. Give immediate, specific, and positive feedback. Demonstrate the activity or sport skills whenever possible. The symptoms displayed by children with ISD vary greatly. Many children with ASD may become irritable due to the change in a familiar routine or overstimulation, loud noises, bright lights, cheering from spectators. They may show frustrations and communication difficulties. So, finally, and perhaps what most importantly, consult with caregiver parents, guardians, or prior teachers when available for each child on the ASD to determine how best to communicate with, teach, and motivate that child. Caregivers can often provide you with very specific information concerning how to determine what calms the child and what agitates the child. If possible, before working with the child, have the caregivers complete a simple questionnaire, providing you with such information as to what type of learning style the child prefers. For example, if they prefer visual auditory or kinesthetic learning style. Sample questions could be: how does your child communicate with you? This is a question you can address to the parents of the autistic child. What are your child's interests? The second question. What upsets your child? What motivates your child? How do you know when your child is agitated or upset? How do you redirect your child when she is getting agitated? Does your child exhibit any stimming behaviors or tics? What is the best way to give your child directions? Stimming refers to self-stimulating behaviors, usually involving repetitive movements, sounds, or words. This behavior is a typical behavior of children with autism. It's part of the diagnostic criteria for autism. It has been interpreted as a protective response to overstimulation in which people calm themselves by blocking less predictable environmental stimulation to which they have a heightened sensitivity. It may also be a way of relieving anxiety and intense emotions. So, there are many ways to support exercise for individuals with autism so they are able to successfully step into the role of sport. Physical exercise has a lot of health benefits, essentially as it enhances physical and emotional well-being, boosts self-esteem, and helps improve social skills. People on the autism spectrum disorder are far more likely to miss out on sporting opportunities due to the condition's hidden differences. This can be accumulation of anxiety in social situations, sensory challenges, as well as difficulties in interpreting and understanding body language, verbal and nonverbal communication, and other social cues. It's useful to know that regular exercise has many benefits and has been shown to decrease self-stimulatory behaviors such as hyperactivity, destructiveness, and aggression. Sport also has the additional benefits of improving social skill through a relationship, building with teammates, listening skills, and attention span. Bringing the fun factor into sports makes it less daunting. Engaging in arts and crafts, life skills games, or playing with their favorite sensory toys are all activities that help to nurture both physical coordination and social skills in the home environment, gradually building their experience and confidence by joining in activities organized by clubs who are more accommodating to their needs. So choosing the right coach who has the experience, qualifications, knowledge, empathy, and is ambitious for your child or adult with additional needs will bring out the best in them and have the best possible experience and outcome. Having these conversations very early on with the coach or team leader helps to educate and ensure everyone involved is supported. Here, I'm going to number some sporting activities that are team-based, individually focused, that may suit someone with autism. So the best team sport suitable for autistic individuals can be the following ones: swimming club, basic swimming, strokes, and water play mean this is a more manageable team activity. The sport works as it still allows for individual competition and group participation. It's a great way to encourage exercise for individuals with autism. Athletics. This is another great sport for those with autism to try. Events related to track and field, such as running, javelin, or long jump, are all activities that mean an autistic person can enjoy individual competition that still contributes to the team. Gymnastics. Speaking from our point of view, gymnastics and specifically trampoline can be a great sport that will allow those with autism to prosper without barriers. But there are also some non-team sports suitable for autistic individuals. For example, martial arts. There are so many different types of martial arts for individuals with autism to enjoy, such as karate, judo, taekwondo, aikido, and many more. This activity is great for combining repetition, structure, and discipline in a fun and active way. A great way to encourage exercise for individuals with autism. Horse riding. This is another non-team sport very suitable for children and persons with autism. Although this sport can be pricey activity and expensive activity, it can be incredibly rewarding to those with autism. In fact, many autistic children ride horses as a therapeutic activity and often find a different level of communication and comfort. Another sport is yoga. The mental, spiritual, and psychological benefits of yoga are countless. It's not a sport as such in itself, but found very beneficial and has been regularly practiced in the East for centuries before the start of a school or working day. Yoga is an activity that demands mental discipline, mindfulness, balance, and core strength. It could fit easily into a daily routine or for part of a group or family activity. And in the case of children and persons with autism, it's very important to break autism-related isolation through exercise for these individuals. Autism is often a hidden disability and it goes unsupported. It can be increasingly isolating. I repeat it. And if it goes unsupported, it can be incredibly isolating. However, by engaging in regular sport or exercise small steps, those who have autism can begin to define many of the mental health conditions, such as anxiety, depressions, and low mood that can and are heightened by autism-related isolation. And several studies are claiming that children and adults with autism or other forms of developmental disabilities are more highly prone to developing obesity. Obesity can open itself to so many health-related conditions. Incorporating regular sporting activities of any kind can help to drastically reduce the possibility of developing health difficulties associated with obesity. However, understanding and appreciating why autistic children are more susceptible to weight-related issues are important. So, center integration issues and routine disruption, limitations on some physical activity can be caused by motor and social impairments. Having a conversation with a non-verbal person about the complexities of healthy nutrition and encouraging exercise for individuals with autism can be incredibly difficult. Weight gain can be linked to autism behavioral medication. So, what's more relevant in this context? What's more useful to achieve the aim of fighting against obesity and help persons with autism to go beyond the limits of their disability? First of all, helping the people with disability to nurturing self-worth. Engaging in sports or joining a sports clubs can help give an autistic individual a sense of self-worth and self-confidence through engaging in normal activities alongside other able-bodied people. All too often, children with autism spectrum disorder are reminded, intentionally or not, of all the things they cannot do. Sport can help show them that they are still able to do normal things. This is the starting point for the counseling of students, of children with autism, and by sport. It's been shown that an autistic individual's self-esteem strongly influences his or her interpersonal relationships, behaviors, and learning. So it's something worth nurturing from an early age. It's important that those who have autism see themselves as valuable members of society with skills and strengths. Promoting exercise for individuals with autism is a great place to start. And sport can be a fundamental means for making the social inclusion of children and athletes with disability member of the society. That is to say, make these people ready for an inclusive society. Most forms of autism therapy come from programs that aim to develop communication, cognitive, and social skills. A majority of these skills are taught in a classroom setting where students can engage with teachers and other ASD students. Although this treatment is necessary, there is one form of therapy that is most neglected among individuals with autism. This therapy is physical activity. Physical activity provides the same components as classroom-style autism treatments, such as communication and cognitive skills, as well as sensory processing. However, physical activity may also provide increased motor skills, better cardiovascular health, and more control mechanisms such as body rocking, arm flopping, and head nodding. Aside from these benefits, implementing a fitness program as a part of your person with disabilities therapy regimen promotes higher self-esteem and increased happiness. This is why sport plays a fundamental role in helping people with disability to have a normal life. Physical activity as a whole causes the body to release chemical known as endorphins. Endorphins interact with the brain receptors that reduce the perception of pain. This process promotes a positive feeling in the body and overall can increase happiness. So sport can be connected to so-called positive pedagogy because the positive effect that sport can have on the personality and the body of the persons with disabilities. Having elevated level of positive emotion in individuals with ASD leads to increased cognitive functioning, increased social skills, decreases in challenging behavior, and less need of moral support. So in conclusion, we can affirm strongly that physical activity is a beneficial form of therapy for autism. Aside from increasing motor skills, it promotes happiness and improved cardiovascular health. May, if not, all research studies are in favor of individuals with autism engaging in physical activity. Thank you for your attention.